want a pair of wireless.
That's why I got a pair of Bluetooth, but they ain't wireless.
They're wireless. They're Bluetooth, but they're connected by a net cable.
That's what I got over on the thingy.
And
Yeah.
I like.
They're not bad. They're better than like the whatchamacallits, but they're still cumbersome around the neck type shit. Like there's one side that's heavier than the others, and it'd always be going to the right and shit. Yeah, that'll be got constantly. And when I'm at work with my gloves on and I'm touching nasty shit, I don't want to have to constantly fuck with my.
And touch, dog. It's disgusting. Putting those germs back in your ear. And I skate and I fall on the ground or something, and the things fall out of my ear a little bit to touch.
Like no.
That gets on my nerves. I like headphones that actually stay in place. I think that really has to do with the little rubber tip as well.
So I think I'm ready to start whenever.
No, it's already rolling. We can roll right now.
Oh shit! Okay,
yeah, I was like, fuck it, let's do it.
Let's do it then. So session 0, I suppose. This started with I watched this video from these creators called After Skool. I recommend them on YouTube. They're very awesome. They kind of helped me a lot with my journey through knowledge lately. But they were talking about Magnum Opuses. And what a Magnum Opus is pretty much your life's greatest calling. Like the thing that you did that you're going to be remembered for if you're remembered for something. It's your greatest thing, your life's greatest achievement. And they had this nice little graph on there. They're talking about how to help somebody find it. And so it involved 3 circles, and it was like a Venn diagram. And the circles were pretty much something you're good at, something you like to do, and something people will pay you for. And whatever thing you like to do, or whatever thing you have that fits into all 3 of those circles, would be something worthy for you to pursue as your magnum opus. You know, the video is talking about giving yourself a year to do it, and people may judge you for it. It might be a tough path, but no one, don't listen to people tell you about your journey. It's yours. They have maybe not even attempted to do what you do, and so it was really inspiring. And so I found that the thing that fit into the 3 circles for me was talking, and so decided that I'm gonna create a podcast, and so here we are. Time for me to talk. And so this being the first episode or whatnot, my first guest today is going to be CJ. It's my best friend. He's going to be helping me with the podcast, and he's going to be getting a lot of this stuff together. He's going to be doing really the heavy work. So I'm blessed for him. I'm glad he's here with me today.
I'm appreciative to be a part of this, dog.
Thank you, bro. Always.
Of course, to be your friend as well.
Absolutely. It's all about it. It's all
hella
about
good times.
So that said, I'm gonna, of course, I'm gonna speak my beliefs, and so my beliefs and your beliefs do not have to match up. This is the thing. Ram Dass said something to me when I was listening to him. He said something that really it resonated, which is kind of ironic because the theme was when you're listening to anybody, it doesn't matter who it is. I don't care if it's the world's smartest scientists. Only take when they say something, only take what vibes with you and throw the rest away. And that's very important. This is how you find your truth of life. Everyone's truth is different. And people need to learn to respect each other's truths. They do not have to line up. They just don't. You would not understand who you were unless there was somebody who didn't like the things you did. And so we don't give enough credit to the other guy, the one who lets us reflect. So that's the disclaimer. We may not be talking about, you may not believe in the things we talk about, and that's okay. Try to keep your mind open. Maybe you'll find something you can take away with that vibes with you today. So I like to talk about this theory I've had the other day. I don't know if it's a theory, but it was a thought. It was like a thought experiment. I don't know what you'd call it. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Let's take a hypothetical example. Let's take a video game, and I hope I can say this, but let's take a certain red clothes wearing, overall having guy. I don't know if I'll get flagged or anything for saying the name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He's really good at jumping. Let's say you take his entire world, you remove the labels off of the titles and stuff, and you take all the characters in there, and you make them conscious. They have their own consciousness, and they have their own language. But would that include what we wanted them to be? Would he become a plumber and jump around and save princesses and stuff? Would the princess even be like, what would they do? How would they walk around just doing random things, not knowing that he's an excellent jumper because jumping isn't something he wants to do? And so maybe he becomes a librarian or something. It was a very stimulating thought because it's one of those like, what's to say that we're not there? Who's to say we're not a video game that just got boom, we thrown in here, inserted into this world, and we have no idea we're supposed to save princesses and jump around and collect the stars or anything like that.
We wouldn't really know either. It would really depend on like the circumstances put in front of you as well. Because like, I mean, consciously you're going to want to do the things that are in front of you. Your surroundings and everything. Now, if this overall wearing character wasn't already jumping on something at the split moment that his consciousness arrived, he wouldn't know to jump on those things.
So, you think maybe that there would be a time in his life where he'd come across something, an obstacle? Oh, there's a puddle in his path, so he jumps one day, and in that moment, he was like, he's stricken with this. For some reason, to jumping over that puddle, it felt like everything I've ever had, like everything I ever wanted to do. Like, oh my God, I found something that's me, and it's like
calling to jump.
It's calling to jump or something like, and he just never knew it. And then everyone gets around, they're like, hey, you, what are you doing? Just jumping around here everywhere. We're a walking world. What are you doing? And so then all of a sudden he's, oh, sorry. There's this guilt that comes. I'm sorry. I should never have jumped. It was my fault for ever going out of the norm. And so there he is, not knowing that he's the best jumper this world's ever known, and he's saved the world many times. Or he's supposed to. He could. And he has the ability to save the world, save the princess, defeat the bad guy, all with his jumps. Since the world, there's no set path in this world. They have no clue what their magnum opus could be. His magnum opus is, in this case, jumping. It's what he was born to do. It's what he would be remembered by most. His original name, Jumpman. So it's just very. It goes into a lot of what we don't know about reality ourselves. How it could be a lot of people find themselves like lost in the world, or like not feeling like you don't belong or something. And what if that's the case? What if you're just the man who never realized he was supposed to jump? And in this society, Einstein says if we judge a fish by its ability to climb trees, the fish will think it's an idiot its entire life. And it's very prominent today. Our schools don't teach us that. They drill you into whatever they want you. Here's, wear this uniform, learn these numbers. I know you hate it. Wake up when you don't want to wake up.
Literally shaped by the things that surround you.
Yes, you have no choice. And I find it very sad. I look at children nowadays, babies, and it's like they're most innocent things in the world. And it's like it's depressing on many levels to think that this child's going to be like it's happy now. It smiles for no reason. It finds delight in anything and everything because it gets it. It actually gets it. And we're going to throw it through this machine wash and scrub all that out and put in whatever we want to do. And it's going to grow up thinking it should be this and it should be that. If it's this, it messed up somewhere. And it doesn't make any sense.
And that puts a lot of depression and things on.
We wonder why we joke around about these serious matters, about like suicidal things and depression. And it's all turned into a little bit of a joke, ha ha, he, because it's the only way we can really talk about it without tackling the issue. And no one ever wants to tackle any issues. We just don't. I don't know why, but we as people don't want to tackle these issues. And
that's just because of the things like once again the things that are shaping us, that's around us. I think that a really big factor that goes into that is alone time and actually understanding yourself and
yes,
figuring out what it is. And the Magnum Opus is a really great idea.
Amazing.
For that because it gives you the time to sit down and think about it.
You will absolutely. I have no doubt that I'm going in pursuit of my Magnum Opus. I will figure out that I'm going to figure out a lot about myself. Either this is I've jumped and I've loved to jump. This is what I love to do. I'll end up realizing that this was it. I was made to do this. Or I'll figure out maybe I didn't like talking as much as I thought I did. Either way, it's not a bad thing. So absolutely, I feel like everyone should give themselves time to figure out who they really are, and that's a lot of process that goes into it. And it's hard in today's society because it's set up in such a soul crushing way. I really do. I cannot stand the way things are set up because here the average day for an American is you wake up, you head to a place you do not want to be for 5 to 10 to 12 hours, depending on whatever they need, and you live someone else's dream. You go home, and then essentially you have to keep it into the 24-hour mold set, which is time, construct. It's an absolute construct. Let's keep it into the 24-hour construct of time. You have your 8 hours of working someone else's dream. Your 8 hours, you get home, and you have 8 hours, but really you don't have 8 hours because it took you an hour to get to work. It took you an hour to get back. You got to brush your teeth, take a shower, all that stuff. That's time that isn't really your time. You have to put this into the culture of what you were grown into, thrown into, washed into. Boom, here you go.
Especially because you got to rush.
Don't you dare drop the culture we gave you. Don't you dare number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, have 9 digits, I think it is. But 8 hours, you don't have the 8 hours for yourself. It's really more like 6 to 5 hours, if that. Depending on what you have. I got to get my laundry done. I've got to get all these chores done. So you get to do that, and then you have hopefully 8 hours to sleep. And so there's the time of your life is being consumed by these 2 other 8-hour intervals that are just, one of them is just laying there dormant. And I've always said, when I figured this out at an early age, that if you were to spend 12 hours every day sleeping, then if you live to be 80 years old, you spent 40 of those years just laying there. And don't get me wrong, there's something about sleeps and there's something about dreams that are very necessary to the human race, to the human experience, and we love it. We love to sleep, and I would not get rid of it. Maybe it's not a waste, but you still didn't get much done. You didn't experience a whole bunch of life in that time that you lay dormant.
Shoot, I experienced a lot of life when I lay dormant. I love
Very
dreaming.
fair.
I love dreaming, and it's our defrag process too, but still, even then though, you're forced to wake yourself up abruptly so that you can make it to work on time and do all this other stuff that society wants you to stay, so that you can even own a place to stay, have food that you can eat. Absolutely. Back when indigenous cultures and stuff were around, you hunted and gathered, and you worked as a community to get those things,
Absolutely.
But now we've got it to where it's based around money, it's based around all this bullcrap, and it forces you, you're
everything becomes
forced in society.
It erases the experience, is what it does. I would love. It's so hard. I understand we need the concept. We need something we can decide on to trade.
A little bit of order or something, but not.
This was the creation of money, was to make it easier. But I would love to see us go back to trading goods and services. This way, there is no wasted time. You do what you want to do. I will trade my time, my labor, or I raise cows and I see you raise chickens. I'd love to have chicken for dinner Sunday. If I give you one of my calves or something, could you give me a few of your chickens? And this way, you agree. There's a sense of community that it gets added back into it. You and your neighbor communicate on this. Yeah. You become stronger from it. You go
building relationships,
and you both come away with something that you agreed upon. Nothing got wasted here. You didn't lose anything in this process. It's pure and it gives back. The people will come to love the guy who raises the cows or grows the apples, and it'll inspire somebody. Okay, I want to be the guy who grows apples and have so much that he can just give them out to the neighborhood kids. There's this dollar on everything. I can't do this. I have my time, and it's my time. It's all my time. I can't just waste my time. I have to put a price on it, and it's sad. It's really sad we have to be in that state of life.
And that's a really big contribution to depression.
Absolutely.
Things that are circulating in society. Mental health is a really big deal, and honestly, it's because of the way that society has became.
It is. It absolutely is.
It's scary, honestly.
It's a blessing and a curse because we've gone past the need for survival. We have
completely erased it for the most part.
We're still playing the game of survival when we should be playing the game of creation. We do not have to worry about the lion lurking in the bush about to kill us. We have plenty of time on our hands. And we've been tricked into thinking we should give it to somebody else. Otherwise, you're not holding up your part of the business. Look here, buddy, I don't owe you anything. I was born into this world on a whim. I have no reason why I'm here. I do know that it wasn't for you, though. I don't owe you a goddamn thing.
Exactly.
And so I got birthed out, you slapped a number on me, and then you expect me to be your product. And it's killing the human soul. Simply put, it's wasting us away.
Wasting the experience that I mean, think about it. We are on a rotating ball of dust in the middle of space.
Makes no sense.
And we're going to waste our time in this experience trying to work for somebody else with some bullcrap ass blue collar washed up thing that we have been shaped into.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we shouldn't be wasting our experience on this planet
Absolutely
on
not.
that. Like, it's
Absolutely not.
crazy, man.
And it's as Alan Watts said once. You spend your whole life chasing this thing, and I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it tomorrow. I put a lot into work, and I'm going to get it tomorrow. I'm going to get it. And then someday in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, you wake up and you go, oh, this is it. I've got it. And then you go, well, what do I do? What do I do now? A lot of people retire, and they come back out of retirement to work again because they feel like they have no purpose. Yeah, and it's sad. They don't get the point. The point of it was to live, to create, to smell the flowers, to make funny noises, to dance and to sing, and to cultivate these experiences with their fellow man. And all we do is cultivate war and strife and stress and struggles. And it's all because of some guy who will never meet us tells us we have to do it. It's best for us. They know what's best for us, but you've never even met me. How do you know what's best for me? And Terrence McKenna talked about this a lot. And I know maybe his name might be taboo for people who want to be serious about matters. But it's dominator culture. It's dominator culture. They tell you what to do. That they trick you into thinking that they know things. They do not let you trust your own truth. They act like they know better than you, and they don't. They don't know anything. Everything you've ever heard about life, all the science, all of the myths you might believe, the facts you might believe, all of it, you've taken someone else's word for it. I promise you've taken someone else's word for it.
It was put around you as more than likely as a child.
It was,
and those things grow with you as an adult.
Fed into you and fed into you and fed into you until one day you woke up and you believed it. And there'll come a time in everyone's life, and there's these small moments, and a lot of times it comes with anxiety, and the last thing you want is anxiety, so you got to stop thinking about these bad things. But they're wake-up calls. They're letting you know, hey, this experience is genuinely fake, and it's killing you. And so you start stressing, and your heartbeat, what's going on?
It builds up in your muscles and everything.
It's life talking to you, buddy. It's very real. If you look around and stop, you'll see that almost everything is symbolism. Carl Jung talked about synchronicity a lot. And it's an amazing thing. And very lately, I've seen it everywhere. And synchronicity is thinking of something. Thinking of, I'm going to think about, plants. I'm going to think about house plants or something. And you go into life and you see, oh, look, there's an ad for house plants. Not like a digital ad, but you walk and you see a billboard. Like someone, nowadays, things are digitized and made to stream right to you as soon as you say something, because we have microphones in our pockets.
And they pay attention to all of
Absolutely.
that marketing.
You're silly if you think they don't. You're silly if they think they don't. They can't necessarily do anything about it because that would give up the charade that, hey, slowly, little by little, they take pieces away from you things, and they think until you have no choice to think it's normal. And no one can say no until we all say no, and that's the problem. No one trusts themselves anymore. And that goes back into taking whatever vibes to you and throwing away everything else. Only you know what's good for you. The only person who has to look at the sky through your eyes is you. So if you look up and you see that things are red, fight for it. Tell everyone the sky is red and I'm not wrong, regardless of if every human being on the planet tells you you are. Hey, it must be blue. They have never looked through your eyes. They can not tell you that. No one knows what's best for you, and it's a bamboozle, and we're stuck in it.
Rough. It really is.
It is.
There's honestly no way to escape it. And It sucks. I'm genuinely happy that, you know, as of late days, people are becoming more spiritually aware than they were in the you know, the past, because society was also shaped really, really strongly around religion. Like,
yes.
you know, except as opposed to other cultures, like I don't want to be saying too much, but Christianity was forced upon a lot of people.
Forced upon people. And I'm sorry, I know I started off in my life Christian. I have been to Sunday services many a time. I've been to the summer school program. I know a lot of the Bible, and I'll tell you that I think it's absolute just rubbish. It's absolute garbage. It's in a time where things were so chaotic, there was a little bit of order is always good, but you can't tip the scales in one way or another. That's when the strife comes in to play.
There is always supposed to be balance, but when one side fights too hard, it creates a larger shadow or a larger light on the other side.
Absolutely.
And it's literally disorder. It becomes disorder all in itself.
I'd just like to say that nothing about it makes sense. Nothing about this. It was forced upon most of the world. People killed you for it. If you didn't, but all in the name of God, and they'll tell you that I'm holy. My cause is holy. Well, everyone's cause is holy to themselves. Everyone's the main character of their own story, and that's the ego talking. And egos killed many of people. But a lot of this religion from the Western, it's absurd, because if you look at it, it's very creepy. It's very scary. There's a lot of cult-like aspects of all of it. It's very just strange. The blood of the Savior and the Christ, and they worship the very thing that killed him.
He didn't want to be idolized either.
That was the whole point of it. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And here we are, still doing it. Still doing it. We missed the entire point of it.
It's because it was taken and shapen and then put in front of people's faces, as opposed to, because I mean, the Bible was rewritten several times
and
by different kings,
and people know this. And it's a very basic talking point, and they look at it and they go, I turn my nose. I pretend I do not see it. That goes back to Plato's cave allegory, where I'm going to simplify this because I can't possibly say it quote by quote, and it's not in front of me. But there's two men, and they've been in a cave, locked into a cave their whole life, and the only thing they have to go to know what life is the shadows on the wall as things from the outside walk past the cave. The shadows come on the wall, and so they have to put everything into the perspective from these shadows. And all of a sudden, one of the men in the cave finds himself free one day. All of a sudden, his shackles are broken. And so he tells the guy, don't worry, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to see what's going on, and I'll come back for you. And the guy's like, all right, cool. His companion, who's chained up still, is. So the guy goes out of the cave, and he finds out that, oh my God, this is life. There's colors, and there's things, and there's birds, and it's all of this. Oh my God. It's not shadows at all. And so he has all these experiences, and I must go back and save my friend. And so he goes back into the cave, and he tells him, you will not believe this. This right here, it's all fake. It's phony. Life's much more than this. And his friend does a peculiar thing. He lashes out in anger and tells him, you've changed. You speak weird things. You do not make sense to me. You're frightening me. Surely whatever you've seen must have been terrifying for you to come back in this state of ecstaticness. You do not touch me. Leave me. And so the guy's like, no, you don't understand. You're missing the whole. You are in a prison. You are trapped. I will free you. And so he goes to try to stay, and he lashes out and he knocks his friend down, and he's just stunned there. And the point of it is, not only will people fight back and argue and adamantly refuse to acknowledge it, they will be moved to violence to protect that false image that they have put up for themselves. Yeah.
But that's also because lack of experience.
Lack of experience. The human experience has been taken from us. There's nothing like that vacation. You feel yourself go free. The chains of capitalism are off. And there's nothing worse than coming back. And we just sit and we feel like that's normal. Like it's not. Everything in the whole universe tells you it's not normal. Synchronicity is crazy. You've talked about how I've noticed it as well. This spiritual, some people will call spiritual mumbo jumbo, this occult weirdness.
A cult has such a
bad thing.
Bad rep just
When
for
you
what
get
it is.
into it, you understand why. I'm not a fan of occult things, like thinking like, the crystals and stuff. I don't necessarily vibe with all that stuff, but I understand why people do. I understand why there's this respect and people want to turn it into rituals and this thing, because it's when you finally get it, and it's hard to explain what it means by getting it. I recommend listening to people who've gotten it, and people who've gotten it many times throughout the world. We keep forgetting and pretending that we don't understand, but we do.
It's information that's pushed back.
Information is
that's
pushed back.
That's important for us to actually hear and understand as well. Like, I mean, there's cover-ups, countless cover-ups. They burn books, which
yes.
I get it, but also the people that did it for the sake of good, and there's a really big twist on what's good and bad.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Paved with good intentions. It's as the monkey says to the fish as he puts him in the tree, "Let me save you from drowning." Who knows what's best for you? Nobody. But you. Only you know what's best for you. Remember that. You should absolutely reject authority. And it's as simple as that. No one should be able to tell you what.
Also, still be open-minded.
Yes, that doesn't mean close up. Do not be the guy in the cave who will lash out.
Don't be him.
You'll never see life or anything but the shadows on the wall if you do this. That's simply it.
Be open to experience. Be open to new information. It's always good to be open. That's why I'm saying I'm exhilarated. I'm excited that spirituality is becoming more of a thing now.
Absolutely. There's no time in any of this thing, and forgive yourself if you weren't always. If you found yourself wasting, regardless of how many years of your life not being open, and one day you open up and see the truth. Exactly. It doesn't matter. You will find that it was time when it was time. There is no wrong or right paths through this stuff. You live. Wake up. Live. Don't focus.
Who was it that said you were always in the right place at the right time?
Many people, really. But I want to say Alan Watts, but I know he went over the point. Like, there's no wrong feelings. He said that many times. It's culture that's tricked you into feeling guilty about it. That's the one thing about Christianity, too. Going back to it, it's such a guilty culture. There's so much, hey, you're not perfect. You were born of this earth, onto it, whatever. Maybe you were dry. It doesn't matter. You were born into this universe, but for some reason, you're not perfect. Everything else is okay, but no, you're not okay. You're absolutely not okay. When the very first words that they tell us about the forbidden truth, do eat not of the forbidden truth, for you shall become as we are. You shall become gods. And then, so we're punishing ourselves for nothing. For nothing. People find themselves entirely guilty when it's phony. You're guilty because someone told you should be. And it's very fake. It's very false. I don't find it endearing whatsoever that people walk around. If you do a good act, because if I do something good, I'll get into heaven. If I do something good, people will think I'm a good person. You did it for the wrong reason. You do not do, good acts are not good acts unless
that disappoints me as well. Like when people like
virtue signaling,
like homeless people and stuff like that. If you're gonna help somebody, help them. You don't gotta go out and take a video camera and film it so that everybody else can see. It wasn't a good act.
That wasn't a good. It was an ego. It was egotistical, prideful, hubris. It's hubris. And it's absolutely not good. They're thinking, I'm doing such a good thing. You can do good things and have bad outcomes. You can do bad things and have bad outcomes. There is no wrong path. There is no wrong answer. Be truthful to yourself. Just don't hurt people, man. There's no wrong feelings, but there are wrong ways to go about things. There was the Chinese farmer. This is a story. I heard it told by Alan Watts, but I'm sure someone said it before him. I'm sure he retold it. And
history.
One day, the stables broke and his horse ran away. And his neighbors came by and they seen it. They go, oh, that's such a bad thing. And so he goes, maybe. And the next day, the horse comes back with 5 more wild horses. And he goes, oh my God. The neighbors come and they say, oh my God, that's such a good thing. And he goes, maybe. And so the next day, when they're trying to tame the wild horses, his son falls off of it and breaks his leg. And they go, oh, wow, that's such a bad thing. And he goes, maybe. And so the next day, the army comes by, and they're scouting for people, and they go, we would have taken your son, but I see that he's injured. Well, we will not take him. And so they go, oh, that's ecstatic. Like, oh, my God, he doesn't have to go to war. That's a good thing. And the farmer goes, maybe. And the point of the story is there is no possible way for you to be able to tell whether or not your actions are good or bad. You will never know. You will never understand the small intricacies of the ripples of just moving your arm, the butterfly effect, of just chaos, of moving your arm, whoosh. You don't know what you've done. You have no clue what you have done. What I've done, and technically it's me. Oops. Sorry guys. My bad. But
drawing the good vibes.
Yeah, come to me with a good vibe. You have no clue. And so to go out into someone and say, hey, the way you said that, what you did, the way you believe in things, the way you see life, it is wrong. How dare you? How dare you tell someone that? When you don't even know if you're right. You haven't went out and looked closely at a leaf and go, how does it do that? You don't appreciate anything. You don't even, you wipe your ass with it and flush it down the toilet, and that's all that matters to you. And that's sickening. But it's not your fault. Not entirely. It's the fact because society never gave you I'll say the human experience, but it's not even it's the experience of life. Nature is the only real thing. And that's simply it. But to go back to synchronicity, people are waking up. Absolutely. I've noticed it because I've woken up recently. It's been a year, maybe a year and a half since I've woken up. And now that maybe I'm not awake. I don't know. I have no clue. The only thing I know is I know nothing. And so, again, if my beliefs do not line up with yours, do not take them. Just maybe I'll say something that helps you. Maybe I won't. And that's what you should remember. But I've come to see that the synchronicities people are, as I've woken up, I've noticed other people have started to ride this wave. I've noticed all through my life now that the moment I start to get into something, everyone else does too, regardless of whether or not I thought they liked it. Very fascinating. We can remember, I'm sure you remember the account a few years, like many years back now, when we were playing, I'm sure I can say, I hope I can say it. Call of Duty Black Ops 1.
You can reference that.
There's zombies. We love that shit. We played the hell out of some Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. And it became almost ritualistic. Like we would just hop on there and just play for hours and hours. And it's very, if you've ever played it, and I'm sure many of you have, there's no point. You can't win it. You literally can't. Well, there's Easter eggs and stuff, but they're so intricate that it's a nightmare to do it. And you could really probably use it as a metaphor for life. It's kind of funny. Everything goes into something else. That you'll learn that one day. But after we got into this thing, I played it with many of my friends, all my friends, and then I'd noticed through, like, here I go to the gun range, there's zombie targets, there's umpteens upon umpteens of zombie movies, video games, all this zombie culture, just boom. Isn't that a coincidence? It cannot be a coincidence, simply not, because life is happening through you right now. You filter the entire experience of the universe, goes into you. It exists at the back of your eye, and you can't explain. It goes into your brain, that goes throughout it and sends it back out and tells you, I think it's this. And you're missing so much. You can't see infrared light with your eyeball. There's certain creatures that can. Maybe they get life. Maybe, there's no possible way.
More of the spectrum, which also changes perception and stuff as well. Like your sensory, every sense that you have. Mm-hmm. Gives you a different perspective on where you're at. Like, if I was in this room right now and I couldn't see anything at all, I would probably feel completely different about, like, everything. The vibe and everything. You'd
come up with a whole other concept of what this room was.
Everything that both of us said would probably be completely different. Mm-hmm. Like,
if we never seen light. And people don't understand that when you wake up and look at the sun, you are making the sun shine. If you didn't have eyes, the sun would never shine, and you'd never know that. You are making the sun shine. It shines through you. Quite literally, I love you, baby. It shines through you. Shines through you. You are my sunshine. But the synchronicities, you'll find that it's irony. I think the universe, it's one of my favorite forces at play, and that's irony. And I feel like it's a key fundamental thing I feel like the universe is by nature ironic. And this goes into the synchronicity to where I do not feel that the universe is this cold, uncaring machine that does all of these things randomly and just doesn't have fun with it. It cannot be. for all of these crazy things to exist in this world? Have you went out and looked at life? Have you looked at the crazy things that are in the ocean? Fuck the ocean. Have you looked at the crazy things that are in that son of a bitch? Like, what is that? How does it do that? You can't do that, but it can. You know, you can sip lattes for this Sunday, but this thing can extend its stomach out of its fucking mouth and grab you and suck you in. And
dog. Speaking of, they were doing conscious tests on I think it was squids. Squids are octopuses.
Oh, let me go into the squid people.
Dog, they were talking about, like, so they were using a base form of consciousness testing where
I know what you're talking about.
They're
smarter than 4-year-olds.
They would give them a treat, and if they could resist from taking the treat, they would give them another one. And these motherfuckers were doing that shit like it was like off top.
If you underestimate the intelligence of these animals on this planet, you are a fool.
They have their own level of consciousness.
Their whole level of consciousness. If you've watched, cephalopods are ridiculously intelligent. These octopus there's so many accounts of octopus and squid and just cephalopods in general. I'm going to say they do amazing things. They know what their surrounding looks like, and they can go and sink into it, and you'll never know they're there. They can mimic their bodies, look like whatever they want to do. They can do all these crazy, ridiculous things. Unscrew jars. There was an account of an octopus that would crawl out of its aquarium, come along the ground, go into the aquarium, eat fish,
and then go back
and pretend like it never had. They were like, why the fuck are we missing fish? And so they put in cameras and they go, wow, the octopus is stealing and eating the fish. And recently they figured out octopus just punch fish for just no fucking
that
spitefully.
blew me away.
It's crazy. Could you imagine you just floating and then the octopus is like, bam! You're just like, why, bro? Why? Why? I was literally just vibing, bro. And he just punched the shit out of him because it's intelligence. The more intelligent it's.
They've got brains in each tentacle.
They have more brains than you do.
Yeah.
Cows, I think, have more brains. I think they have stomachs. I feel like I heard something like the stomachs have brains in them or something. Might be wrong.
Technically, our stomachs have brains.
Do have something that are like
they have their own energetic frequency that so if you're consuming different types of food, which food is a really big deal. What you eat is what
you become.
So like the different chemicals that you put in there change what's going on in your mind, which honestly kind of scares me about what the U.S. is doing as well.
Think about you're eating tortured meat, and so people wonder why I feel so sad all the time.
I had such crazy dreams. I stopped eating meat for 2 weeks, and I was having crazy dreams.
I can imagine.
It's
just like the ghost of all the things you've been leaving in your body.
Everything.
It's wild. But back to the cephalopod. I have this crazy theory, and you can go bring me the tinfoil hat, and I'll put it on. But listen to my theory, and I feel like it has sound argument. I feel like it's a sound argument. I'd love to hear a scientist, somebody smarter than me, or somebody who's done more research on life. I'd love to eventually get to the point where I could talk to them about it. But life started in the ocean, right? And from what we know from what we know of science, we think life started in the ocean. We came out of it one day, and eventually we evolved into where we are now, and we're super fucking smart apparently, and I'll do all these crazy things. But if life started in the ocean, doesn't the life that started in the ocean that didn't come out? So like we had to come out of the ocean and learn a whole new way of living. Had like a whole new, we had to adapt to not living in water, to be submerged, readapt
to everything.
And so the life that didn't come out of the ocean had like probably millions upon billions of years of a head start where it didn't have to change all that, so it could just become better at what it does. And I would like to think it kind of makes sense to me that the life in the ocean with that head start would be smarter than what we are. And the cephalopods kind of like, I think we should watch them closely because I honestly feel like, so picture a cephalopod on a humanoid level. This is where I'm going to get crazy. I understand I don't know how the biology, but they do what they do now. Imagine one who gets so sophisticated, so advanced, that it can just morph its whole body into the shape of a human, and they can already breathe like air for a limited amount of time. They can't stay out of it forever. But imagine if it evolved the ability to be amphibious. Comes out of land, looks like a person. It's 1,000 times smarter than us. Had millions upon millions of years of evolution time to evolve before us. And it just kind of walks around pretending to be human fucking ruling us. There's already like the big thing. They're reptilians or something. What if they're not reptiles? What if they're fucking cephalopods? My God, you got squid people walking around.
I feel like that's also like something where illithids came from. Mind flares.
Mind flares.
Like D&D. Excuse my nerd.
Oh,
don't
you don't excuse him. Don't excuse our nerd stuff. Don't you dare excuse our nerd stuff.
That's probably where a lot of the ideas for like illithids and stuff came from. I
mean, you can't think of something that doesn't exist.
Exactly, it had to have.
I'd like to make that clear. I challenge you to think of something that doesn't exist right now.
Give him a second.
I'm gonna give you a second.
What did you come up with?
I'm sure you thought of something, right? Now I'm gonna ask you. How did you come up with that if it didn't exist? How could you have? It doesn't exist. So how could you pull that from the non-existing world? That means it exists somewhere. In this infinite universe where things are infinite. That means forever. It means it keeps going on. If it's infinite, that means anything that could ever happen ever happened, and is happening. And science supports that. Don't think I'm crazy. Just go look it up. Do some research. Science supports it. So. Shit.
Quantum theory, is that what ties that together? I think I don't recall.
Well, I know, right?
it's something. I wish I had something else to give him there.
I lost the point.
Cephalopods.
And
ideas that can't.
Oh yeah, you thought so. You think of, so you can't think of something that doesn't exist. Sorry, forgive me for being an idiot. Or if not, if you don't, I'll forgive myself for being one.
Yeah. It's all love. It's all love.
You know, I've done smoked away most of my brain cells, and the rest of them are just kind of clinging by a thread. But you cannot think of something that doesn't exist. You just simply can't. So, and you'll find that everything that you think of, someone else has thought of before, or it ties into. You'll think of a nice story. If you create stories, you're like, this is pretty nice, and you go, wait a minute. That's just the story for this. That's just the story for that. Like, oh yeah, but life that's what it is. It's the same things in infinite ways, and it'll happen. It'll keep happening, and it's always has.
Gonna keep on, but
so to say like, oh, the world you live in a world of imagination. Quit playing there. Like, no, he's playing with dangerous things because he's creating things every second. If you thought of it, it exists somewhere now. I guarantee you. So. That goes with synchronicity as well. Like, you think of I'm talking about squid people, and I guarantee you I'm going to scroll through my phone tomorrow and see an advertisement about how squids do this now, or whatever. Like, and these are just little sides. It's like the universe giving you thumbs up, like, hey, you're getting it, buddy. I have this crazy story yesterday, actually. Me and one of my good friends, Chris. Hi, Chris. We were riding in the car. And he had told me, he goes, you know what you never see anymore? Volkswagen Beetles, the punch buggies. And I was sitting here thinking, like, son of a bitch, he's right. You really don't see the punch buggies anymore.
Dog in elementary school, motherfuckers always hit me with that.
We used to play, punch buggy. It used to be a game. It used to be a game that you'd see them and you'd punch. So
common that was. But.
We were sitting there laughing like, haha, maybe we were in another dimension. You know, the Mandela effect. Maybe we were, and so we both had this weird thought, like we both knew now that we had just teased the universe. And he looked at me and he's like, we're going to see one now. And I'm like, yep, you're goddamn right. We're going to see a fucking punch buggy. And so we're sitting here and we're driving and I'm looking, he's looking, we're sitting here. And all of a sudden, I get to the point where we've driven for a minute, we haven't seen one. And we're like, maybe we won't. Maybe the universe is going to laugh at us like, haha. But the universe, I love irony. And if I love irony, I'm sure the universe probably does too. And so what do we look over and what do we see? There are 3, not one, but there are 3 punch buggies sitting in a parking lot, and they're all customized. White with grass painted around their edges, like trimmed like it was like a little grass. And it's just, couldn't do nothing but laugh. Like, there it is. And we asked for it. We knew it was coming. And you knew. And you'll find the more that you sit and you connect with life and nature and you accept the universe and trust yourself, and by extension, the world, God, and everything, that you knew. You'll find that you've always known. You'll come back and go, wow, the things I liked as a kid make sense now. They led me here. Every little thing in your life is like a little piece of a breadcrumb that leads you to the moment you realize the big picture. And you go, oh.
A lot of people don't get a chance to do that.
A lot of people don't. Sometimes.
Because of that shaping that we were talking about.
We're in a cage. We're chasing cages. People do not understand that success, The idea of success.
That's a cage in itself.
It's a cage. You will chase this, and the day you find it, you have to stay in it. The moment you leave it, I'm not successful no more. So success becomes a prison. You have everything you need right now. Oftentimes, you'll look back and go, oh, I miss it. Of course you miss it, because you had it already. You thought you wanted something different. I
can't recall who said it specifically, but it's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
Absolutely,
Experience the journey. Enjoy what you're doing.
And I'd like to absolutely take that one step further and saying it's not a journey. I think it's Alan Watts said this. I'm gonna quote him a lot. He's one of my favorite people. I highly recommend listening to him because I feel like he's one of the most brilliant minds, if not the most, in my biased opinion, that's ever lived on this planet. I feel like he's really gotten things, and by listening to his lectures and his words, it's really helped me come to grip with everything. Everything. It has put me at a great peace I probably never would have obtained. But he said that, what did you say, CJ? Journey. But life is not. So he said that to think of life as a journey is kind of a mistake, because the point of a journey is to get to the end of it. Life is more of like a song or a dance. It's a music thing. And so in music, when you sing, the purpose isn't to get to the end of it. And if it was, the best songs would be the shortest one. There'd just be one crashing note. And as he says, there's one crashing note, and that's it. And that's not the case. The purpose of a song is to sing, to enjoy it. The purpose of a dance is to move around. You don't think about where you end up. So life is not a journey. And if you think the point of life is to get to the end of it, you think that it's a race from the maternity ward to the crematorium. And if you think it's that, he says, and I'm sorry, this might be a trigger warning, but he says that if you think life is like that, you might as well commit suicide right now, because you're killing yourself. And you are. You've set yourself up to lose.
Yeah, setting up for failure.
You've set yourself, you've turned your life into a cage. And you shouldn't do that. You are worth way more than that. Excuse me.
Way more. There's a
lot.
There's a lot to experience and live. So if you're ever contemplating suicide,
please reach out to me.
Friends, reach out to people.
Anybody. I don't care if you feel like you have nobody you can reach out to. If you feel like there's nobody, I have no friends. My family hates me. There's just nobody. I don't care if you're a stranger. If you've never met me, this is your first time ever seeing me, my face, hearing my voice. Come to me. Reach out to me. You can tell me whatever it is. At the least I can do is listen. I may not be able to make anything better. If you need advice, I can try to give you anything I know, experience. But I'd hate to see someone ever feel like it has to come to that. Because I just know that life's not a cage. And I know sometimes you have to feel bad sometimes. And I understand you can't, it's not.
It's too hard to avoid and
exactly.
The way that things are.
When you get into these slumps and you feel things are heavy, you can't just go, oh, I know it's going to get better. Yeah, everyone knows it, but it doesn't make it better right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it better right now.
It's hard to avoid, those feelings like that.
Feelings.
It's hard to avoid feelings.
Don't let yourself feel guilty for them. It's okay to feel like that. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel that. Let yourself be human. This culture has convinced us we can't cry, we can't bitch and groan and moan. There's somebody who's got it worse than you. Well, I'm not somebody. I'm me. I am the only. As far as I know, I'm the only thing that has to look at life the way I do. So don't worry about what other people think of you. Just do what you have to do. Cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to vent to people who you think might not care. Fuck them. Explode their ear off with if they're not listening, falling out, hey, I gotta talk about this or otherwise I'll die. So if it kills you, I don't care. So just get it off your chest. Vent, just be human. Scream, shout, dance, laugh, be merry. It's the point of it. Dance in the rain. Let it all go, and you'll find that it'll come back to you. It will. There'll come a moment where you go, well, that was a hell of a show. But it's over now. I can laugh about it. And you'll find that you will always come back. There's so many things that you thought, oh, this is the worst. This is the most embarrassing moment of my life. This is the worst thing that could ever happen to me. And then a few years later, you start telling it to your friends as a fucking joke. hey, remember that time that they're like, yeah, it was a grand time.
Don't,
It was not a bad thing.
don't dwell on what's going on at the time. When you're feeling bad and things aren't working out the way that you see them, that you want them to be at the time, feel the emotion and let it pass. It's just for the moment. It's not gonna be forever, So.
And I highly recommend that if you feel stuck or lost and stuff, try to find you a creative outlet. And when I say creative, I mean like create something. Whether it be art, well, art's that's a broad term. Art could be anything.
Yes, yeah.
Art is very important. I want to say art's very important for the human soul and for the like. It's a big deal about life experience. One of the, I think, points of life is to create art, and what art is a wide topic. It can be many things.
Music, painting, drawing.
Anything. I feel like it's one of those things because science can't explain love. Science can't explain beauty. Science can't explain aesthetics, pleasing scent, things like this. So, and this is a hint that whatever that is like transcendental of life. It's like it's in itself. It's like a rabbit hole that'll take you to a greater existence in itself. At least I feel. But try to create something. Try to paint. Try to draw. Try to write. Try to make music. And speaking of music, my best friend over here, CJ, he makes music, and I think he's got an amazing voice on him, and I think you guys should check him out. Let them know how and where they can check you out.
My artist name is CJ Too Much, CJ the number 2, and then much right after. It's all together is one word. It's not too confusing. I'm sure you'll find it. But you can find me on SoundCloud, Spotify, Pandora. It's pretty much anywhere that you normally search for music. It's pretty easy to find, so hope you check it out. I make R&B music, club tunes and stuff like that. I love to sing. I love to make music, not just because I'm, speaking my truths and stuff, but because it's good for me. Like I feel good doing it, and that's
what it's about.
It's all about feeling good and letting those things out. And I find out more about myself as I create. And, of course, more about the world around me, too. So I love the arts in general, like every single form. That's why I'm a very versatile artist. I do videos. I draw and paint. I'm a tattoo artist as well. Like any outlet that I can find,
Absolutely.
It helps me understand and build as well. And I'm not searching for like an end goal or anything like that. We were talking about. I'm doing it because I love to do it.
And absolutely. And that goes back into the Magnum Opus of things. So he's trying to chase his Magnum Opus, and I recommend.
I have not done that yet.
So you still don't? Oh, so he should. But you got, regardless of whether he thinks that's his or not, you guys should follow your Magnum Opus, and that's sort of what I'm doing here now. But remember, don't follow something for the sake of success or money, because then you're following a cage. You're looking for a cage to trap yourself in. And so for me in this podcast, I hope that it does good, of course. Of course I hope it does good. Of course I hope it does well. But I'm not really looking to make money or get famous off of it. I feel like there's a lot of things. For one, I have ADHD, so I'm sorry. It's hard for me to organize all my thoughts. And so it kind of it tries to just come out. So I know I may talk too fast. I may talk too low. I may not add spaces and punctuation to my sentences. And hopefully this experience will help me work on that. I will get better as it goes. But that said, I'm not here to talk to do any kind of thing to help myself. I just want to talk. And if someone somewhere needed to hear something I said, and that's the greatest thing I could have ever asked for in my life. And so, recently I was talking to my father on the phone, and he said something very interesting to me. He's the one that helped me realize success was a cage. And he told me I probably shouldn't have told you that. And that's why I'm like, wait a minute, like we were having this deep intellectual conversation. I'm like, why?
It's a little different.
Why shouldn't you have told me that? What do you mean? And he said, well, I don't know how much I believe in karma, like past lives, future life, karmic debts and stuff. I definitely believe we don't just die and go nowhere. But that's not the point. He said that if I give you the answers, then you didn't get them yourself. I'm going to put this into a metaphor. You didn't get the answers yourself. You didn't arrive there. So when it comes time to show your work, you won't know how to do it. Meaning you didn't really learn anything. You may know the answer, but you didn't learn the lesson.
Cheated.
You cheated. You cheated, and so you're going to have to learn that lesson again. I promise you. Every cycle you went through in your life, you feel like you're repeating something, it's because there is a lesson there you have not learned, and you're going to keep repeating it, whether it be this life or the next, until you get it. You simply have to. But I'm going to say many things now, and I hope that they are answers you guys were looking for, because the thing is, it doesn't mean that you can't say this. If you go to a teacher and they give you the answer, that was part of your path. You sucked the teacher out, and there you found your answers. That was still part of your path, your journey. If I come to you and force myself to be a teacher, that's different. And due to the format of this being a video thing, if you clicked on this and you're here, obviously it's the same thing as you coming to me for a teacher and me teaching you. So this was part of your journey. This is why I don't feel bad about speaking information about somebody. But I've learned that often I want to talk, and so I find myself coming to people and just saying stuff, ranting, and they're like, "Hey man, like what the fuck are you?" Like I just want to worry about my 401k and the what's on the news and my sports team and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my bad, don't mean to step on your toes." And so this way I won't have to waste my time with those people, and the people who really want to hear what I got to say will find their way to me, and that is the purpose of this whole experiment, this podcast of mine. Hopefully at the end of the year, I'll find that this might be my Magnum Opus. I don't have to search anymore, and I found my life's calling. That would be amazing. But other than that, there's no real reason that I'm doing this. And so
I've had a hell of a good time talking to you today. So
always that.
It's been good.
Always that. So I do plan on getting more people in here. There'll be times I would like to get to a point where I'm doing 2 videos a week. I'd like to drop this podcast on like maybe Mondays or the beginning of the week sometime. And at the end of the week, I'm thinking of doing these videos. 'Cause I'm a huge geek, a nerd, whatever you want to call it. I love anime and video games, Dungeons and Dragons, the whole 9 yards. I'm like all the way there.
Me too.
It's all the whole 9. Me and my cousin are best friends. So I'd love to talk about that stuff too. And so there's a time and place. So I plan on maybe having my earlier in the week videos be this podcast where I sit and I talk to people about many things, many topics, even topics I might not care for myself. I want to give people a platform to talk about the things that they like as well, because it's not always about me. It's simply not. It can't always be, and if it is, then I'm not doing something right, because there's so many more people and things in life that deserve credit. They deserve love and credit and acknowledgement for the things they do and have added. And that's just, I feel like it's the way you should be. But if that doesn't vibe with you, don't take it. And that's your truth, not. So.
And some closing notes or something.
That said, hopefully I'm gonna try to get to I might do a video podcast this week, the nerdy review. I plan to just talk about just nerdy topics with another person. I'd like to get somebody who, I have a friend in mind. Hopefully he'll be able to attend most of the times. I have a friend in mind that me and him really enjoy the same things. And so we tend to talk and we have these debates because we don't really argue. Because I know I love it. Like, I love getting into these engagements with him. I hope he loves getting into them with me. But we tend to find ourselves on opposite sides of the same thing that we love greatly. We both know almost everything about it. And so I'm like, I think it's like this. He thinks, and it creates this a very good environment for anyone who is interested as well to come in and maybe see all sides of that. So there's no particular bias. I don't really want to talk with myself about it. I don't want to add my bias completely into it. So sometimes I want to review things, talk about them, what I think they could have done better. Maybe I think things didn't live up to, or maybe I think they're great. I want to talk about why I think they're great. Maybe he can talk about why he doesn't think they're so great. And I think that's a good, healthy balance. I think balance is the key to things. So we'll see how things get coming forward. And hopefully everyone enjoys listening to me talk. And CJ will be here, and he will be an occasional returning guest, and whether he wants to be or not. No, I'm not going to force him. He really doesn't want to be. He won't. Dog. But definitely, because I feel like me and him we're very good catalysts to talk. He brings out real good subjects and things that I like to talk about.
We always have interesting conversations and things to highlight. Plus, if I'm not on the show, I'm probably going to be behind the camera anyway.
He will be here. He will be here.
I'll be there in spirit.
Yes. You might get to hear him talk and stuff. I'll ask. He helps me out a lot. He's doing a lot. Please give him a round of applause. He's going to be helping me out greatly. I really do not think that, not that I couldn't have done it, but I just wouldn't have done it without him. There's just so much that goes into it that he's helping me with, and he's making this possible. So I love him for that. And I love everybody. I really genuinely do. Everybody who came here today, I especially love you. You're great. I hope that you add everything you love into the world. And I hope you add love into the world. The world needs more love. I hope together we can make life a better experience for all of our souls. And so that way, it doesn't have to be a struggle. It never did. And I've always felt that way. So hopefully I can make a difference with the things I say. Hopefully some of my friends and people I care about, hopefully maybe you can come on here one day and make a difference too. And I'm always open to talk to people, to see viewpoints. I'd love, especially if any of these topics touched you, or really you enjoy these topic kind of stuff, I'd love to have you on here and talk about it. We can bounce back and forth and go nuts. Just absolutely. I think the world needs more real conversation. There's always this vague, today, if I mess up these words, I'm going to get lashed in the back. They're going to hate me. I'm going to lose my entire livelihood if I mess up. And so it becomes this super ungenuine fake experience. And I want to add real experience back into the world. So hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to me speak today. Hopefully I made a difference with my words. Hopefully I can spread anything good into anywhere. And if you guys enjoyed the topics that I talked about, or you want to see me talk about something else, let me know. If you want to get on here and we can bounce ideas back and forth all day long, I love it. I love to talk to more people. So always try to hit me up. Say, hey, I love your podcast or whatnot. I'm close to you. I know you. I'm sure maybe a lot of people who watch this starting off will know me. And so I'd love to have you on here if you want to be. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sitting through it all. If you got to the end especially, love you guys. You make this possible. Hope you guys love yourselves. And peace out.
Peace.